Human farmer fed a hungry alien feline soldier abandoned to die by H. The wind whistled across the dusty plains of Arant 7, carrying with the faint smell of rust and ozone from the abandoned mining rigs scattered across the horizon. For Jonas Keller, the human farmer who had inherited a forgotten patch of land on this border world, the loneliness was as thick as the reddish dust that clung to everything. The war had ended, or at least that's what the Terran command kept broadcasting. But for border colonists like Jonas, the echoes of conflict were never far away. Ruined cities, shattered weapons, and abandoned alien fortresses littered the land like scars. And sometimes those scars still bled. Jonas wiped the sweat from his brow as he finished repairing the irrigation unit for his hydroponic pods. Farming in a war-torn galaxy wasn't glamorous, but it kept him alive. One more day, one more crop, he muttered to himself. It was a mantra that carried him through the long nights. But that day, as the twin suns dipped low and painted the sky with crimson light, Jonas noticed something unusual near the far edge of his fields. A trail in the dust. Heavy, staggered footprints. Something, or someone, was dragging itself across his land. He reached for his pulse rifle. Out here, hesitation meant death. Pirates, deserters, or feral war beasts left behind by retreating armies often prowled the wastelands. Jonas followed the trail carefully, his boots crunching on the dry soil, until he reached the shadow of an old cargo hauler wreck. That's when he heard it, a low, ragged growl. At first, Jonas thought it was a wounded predator. But then he saw it, slumped against a metal husk, an alien soldier. Not just any alien, one of the infamous felines, the genetically bred warriors of Heliox Dominion. She was massive, at least 7 feet from head to tail, her body humanoid but covered in sleek black fur. Her feline face bore scars of countless battles, and her once polished armor was shattered, burned, and caked with blood. Her golden eyes flicked open as Jonas approached, and she bared her fangs. "Stay back, human," she rasped, her voice a mix of growl and broken syllables. Her claws extended weakly, though her body trembled with exhaustion. Jonas aimed his rifle but hesitated. He had heard of the Cryeth, how they were abandoned by their commanders when the Heliox Dominion retreated. Ruthless in war, they were considered expendable tools once battles were lost. This one had clearly been left behind. "You're dying," Jonas said flatly. Her growl deepened. "Better die, warrior, than beg." Then her stomach let out a deep, hollow rumble. Jonas blinked. She wasn't just dying from wounds. She was starving. For a long moment, Jonas wrestled with his instincts. The safe choice was to walk away. Leave her to die, as her own kind already had. But something in those golden eyes stopped him. They weren't just the eyes of a killer. They were the eyes of someone betrayed, discarded. Jonas lowered his rifle. "Come on then," he muttered. "If you're going to die, might as well not do it on my land." He returned with a cart and hauled her to his homestead. She hissed at his touch, but lacked the strength to resist. The feeding. That night, Jonas placed a bowl of roasted grain meal and vat-grown meat on the table. The feline soldier sat slumped against the wall, her breathing shallow. When he slid the bowl toward her, she stared at it suspiciously. "You think I eat your slop?" she snarled weakly. "Eat or die," Jonas said simply, sitting across from her with his own portion. Her pride warred with her hunger. Finally, with a guttural sound of defeat, she seized the food and devoured it in seconds. Her sharp teeth tore through the meat with savage precision. Jonas pretended not to flinch. When she finished, she looked at him, shame and defiance mixing on her face. "Why feed, enemy?" Jonas leaned back. "War's over. You're not my enemy unless you make yourself one." She growled but didn't answer. Instead, she curled up near the heat lamp, exhaustion overtaking her. Jonas watched her for a long while. What kind of commander would abandon a soldier like this? Even a beast deserved better. Days of uneasy peace. Over the following days, the alien recovered slowly. Jonas learned her name, R.H. Kara, though she allowed him to shorten it to Kara. She was wary, always watching him as if expecting betrayal. Yet she accepted his food, his water, and even his crude medical care. Jonas, in turn, began to understand just how dangerous she truly was. Even weakened, her strength was immense. Once, when a feral razorhound pack attacked the farm, Kara tore through them with terrifying efficiency, moving like a shadow of death. Afterward, she looked at him as if expecting fear or disgust. But Jonas only said, "Guess I owe you a crop of grain meal for that." For the first time, she almost smiled. Their uneasy coexistence grew into something more. Kara would help repair equipment, her claws surprisingly delicate when handling small machinery. Jonas taught her the basics of farming, how to tend to the hydroponic roots, how to calibrate the nutrient cycles. She scoffed at first, calling it the work of weaklings, but gradually, Jonas noticed she took pride in it. Still, her nightmares betrayed her. Sometimes Jonas would wake in the night to hear her growling, claws slashing at phantoms of her past battles. She had been bred for war, trained for obedience, and then cast aside like trash. "You're free now," Jonas told her once, after she woke trembling from a nightmare. Her golden eyes searched his face. "Free to do what? Starve? Hide." "Free to live," Jonas said simply, "even if it's just farming. Trouble on the horizon, but peace on a rant." 7 was fragile. Word spread quickly when something unusual happened on the border worlds. And a human farmer sheltering a Heliox war beast was very unusual. One evening, a Terran patrol ship landed near Jonas's farm. Out stepped Commander Vela, a stern officer with cold eyes. "Jonas Keller," she said, "we've received reports you're harboring an enemy combatant." Before Jonas could answer, Kara appeared at the doorway, her ears flat, her fangs bared. The soldiers instantly raised their rifles. "She's no threat," Jonas said firmly, stepping between them. "She was abandoned. She's not fighting anyone anymore." Commander Vela's gaze hardened. "Orders are clear. All remaining Heliox bioweapons are to be exterminated. They're unstable. Dangerous." Kara snarled, the fur on her neck bristling. Jonas held up a hand. "She's not a weapon. She's a person. She works this farm with me. She saved my life more than once." "Doesn't matter," Vela snapped. "Stand aside, farmer." Jonas looked at Kara, who was coiled like a spring, ready to leap. He knew if she fought, they'd both die. Slowly, he shook his head. "Not like this." That night, they hid in the storage cellar while patrols searched the farm. Jonas could feel Kara trembling, not with fear, but with rage. "They will not stop," she whispered. "Your people. They will hunt me, like my people hunted yours." Jonas put a hand on her shoulder. "Then we'll give them something they're not expecting. We'll survive." The turning point. Weeks passed, and the patrols grew more frequent. Jonas knew it was only a matter of time before they discovered Kara. He began making preparations, stockpiling supplies, planning escape routes. Kara, for her part, trained herself back into fighting shape. One evening, a massive sandstorm swept across the plains, forcing Jonas and Kara to take shelter in the old cargo hauler wreck. As the storm howled outside, Kara finally spoke of the betrayal. "My commander," she said bitterly, "promised glory, promised honor. But when the Dominion retreated, he left us. Left me, said we were expendable." Jonas listened in silence. She looked at him with a strange intensity. "Why do you care if I live, human? Your people would kill me. My people abandoned me. Why feed me?" Jonas thought for a long moment. Then he said, "Because no one deserves to be thrown away, not even a soldier bred for war. If I let you starve, I'd be no better than the commander who abandoned you." For the first time, Kara's fierce mask cracked. She bowed her head, her golden eyes shining in the dim light. "Then I am yours," she whispered. "Not as slave, not as weapon, but as comrade." The final confrontation. Their bond was tested sooner than expected. A month later, Commander Vale returned, not with a patrol, but with an entire strike team. They had discovered Kara's presence. "This ends today," Vela declared, as soldiers surrounded the farm. Jonas and Kara stood side by side at the edge of the fields. Jonas's pulse rifle hummed in his hands, but he knew they were outnumbered. Kara crouched low, her claws gleaming. "Go," Jonas whispered. "You can still run. I'll hold them off." But Kara shook her head. "You fed me when all others left me to die. I will not abandon you." The battle was fierce. Kara moved like a storm of claws and fury, cutting through armored soldiers with terrifying grace. Jonas provided covering fire, his shots precise despite the chaos. But the enemy numbers were overwhelming. Finally, Kara stood bloody but unbroken before Commander Vela herself. The human officer raised her plasma blade. "You should have stayed dead, beast." Kara snarled, and then Jonas stepped between them. "No more killing," he said. His voice was steady, defiant. "You want her? You'll have to kill me too." Something in his tone gave Vela pause. Around them, her soldiers hesitated. Killing a rogue alien was one thing, but gunning down a fellow human farmer, defending his companion, was another. After a long, tense silence, Vela lowered her blade. "Fine, but if she ever turns on you, her blood is on your hands." With that, the strike team withdrew, leaving the farm scarred but standing. A new beginning. In the days that followed, Jonas and Kara repaired the damage together. The farm lived on, stronger than before, and so did their bond. Kara no longer saw herself as a discarded weapon. She was a farmer, protector, and, though she would never admit out loud, a friend. One evening, as the sun set over the fields, Jonas handed her a fresh bowl of food. "Guess I'll be feeding you for a long time yet," he said with a small smile. Kara's golden eyes softened. She took the bowl gently and replied, "And I will guard this farm and you for as long as I live." For the first time in her life, the alien feline soldier was not abandoned. She was home,